from the Northern Marianas. Again, Tomas Manglona from the KUAM News Team. Good morning, Tomas.
Good morning. Here's the latest on what's making news in the Northern Marianas. Congressman Gregorio Kilili Camacho Sablan said he received confirmation from the Treasury Department that $36 million in coronavirus relief funds and CARES Act funds should have been fully received by the CNMI government last week. Yesterday, during a federal response virtual roundtable, he spoke about these funds and the challenges ahead. We wanted to play a short clip of his address.
From about the emergency response in the Northern Mariana Islands. And of course, nearly all the territories have been, like Chairman Grijalva said, recovering from the damages of severe natural disasters before this pandemic hit our shores. The hurricanes, the earthquakes in the Caribbean, super typhoons and cyclones in the Pacific have had a devastating impact on individuals' lives, on public infrastructure, on our economies. And Congress has already provided billions of dollars for the recovery, and we were slowly starting to rebuild. And then COVID-19 pandemic started to spread throughout the world, the globe. This public health disaster is unprecedented for the whole world as a world community, and for each one of us individually. The economies of every state and territory have been devastated. The fallout will surely be felt for years to come. And even before this public health crisis, the economy of the Northern Marianas was reeling, attributable no part to typhoons Yutu and Mangkut in 2018, but since the outbreak, businesses have shuttered, residents lost their jobs, public school teachers have been furloughed, pension payments have been reduced, and the harm felt throughout the islands continued to mount. So I would say that initially the Commonwealth was slow to recognize the severity, but since have done a commendable job at keeping the virus at bay. The number of positive cases, 14, has remained at 14.
Related major expenses for the funds to be used from the CARES Act. He says it can be used for public hospitals, setting up temporary public medical facilities, providing testing. Sablan says he strongly favors assistance to put towards the public school system to make online learning available for all students in the Northern Marianas. He makes note that grants to small businesses and unemployment payments for workers not covered by the CARES Act unemployment assistance are also permitted uses of the money that he mentioned. Also sharing more from the hospital CEO here in the CNMI, Esther Muña, as some flights are set to resume in the CNMI, Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation CEO Esther Muña says that a negative result from a test taken through community-based drive-through initiative on Saipan can be used for exemption from quarantine for travelers with final destinations to places like Guam if it meets the criteria. She explained that for travel, the negative result issued by CHCC on Saipan is valid for 72 hours from the time of specimen collection and not the time from when an individual receives the result. Muña said that the lab director reviews the results and certifies them. She adds that tests are done carefully with quality and reminds the public that getting tested is not the same as a vaccine. You may still contract it if you don't continue to practice social distancing and other preventative measures. She also says that a traveler quarantine exemption is not the primary purpose for the certificate. We also wanted to share the latest numbers from the CHCC on Saipan. As of April 30th, we remain at 14 cases with a pair of deaths and 12 recoveries. And as of yesterday, April 30th, the number of persons tested through a community testing initiative is 599, nearly 600 people so far. Chris and Bree.
Thanks, Tomas.
Thanks, Tomas. Hey, so I know that you headed up the journalism program at Cal Berkeley. So you definitely have, I believe, the pedigree to talk about this. So I want you to kind of take off your Tomas Manglona reporting from NMI hat and just put on your journalist hat and tell us why you think yesterday's press conference was a problem.
It's a huge problem. We see it happening, across communities, even in the United States, that governors are seeming to think that they can concentrate power and not answer to the press. And, I think we all know from day one, even as a student, people talk about the press as the fourth branch of government. So other than those big sweeping ideas, I just think it's like Adriana questioned and we all continue to question. I think it's been over a month since our governor here in the CNMI has had a press conference. It's not about us, the media. Really, it's about the questions we ask for the community, and in particular to reporting that I try to do here, it's about questions that the NMI residents have. And so I think that when you shut out the media, you shut out the public. And this is, I think, I'm young, but we all know that it's not about us, it's about those questions. So I hope that we have a press conference here soon, and that questions won't be muted, and that there won't be censoring. I don't know if you all share that too, but that's my take on it.
What do you make of the argument that some people have, the media was told that they shouldn't ask questions about that, so what's their problem?
I just don't understand that. I really don't, and there really is no, don't call it a press conference if it's not a press conference. Really.
It should be like a propaganda brief.
Nothing short of a campaign rally in my view, but if you're only speaking to friendly media or, media that may be perceived as friendly to you, then that's a major issue, and something that every journalist is pushing for is just to get those questions that the public wants to know asked and get the answer to them. So, definitely thinking about our, Adriana's question and how she was muted in between and not allowed to ask a follow-up. It's simply just unfair. It's really embarrassing, I think.
Yeah, and even just the PDN's question, it was so simple, an update on the federal stimulus checks.
Wow. Oh, my God. So controversial. People want to know what's up with their stimulus check. Don't answer it, Governor. This could end your career. Oh, man.
And, growing up, we always hear the idea of if you can't handle the press, then why are you are you really that elected official? Because if the press is giving you this pressure to, collapse, then I don't really know what else.
And I don't
might not be handled.
I don't agree with this idea that the governor's not going to call us because we're not going to kiss her ass, and Lieutenant Governor Josh is he's going to hang up because we played a tough news story. But we're going to give you Carlo Branch, guys. We're going to give you Carlo Branch, and then he's going to go on and make a total fool out of himself, and the governor and Josh get to escape all injury. And, I just, that's why I'm like, no, I don't want it. Why would...
Yeah, I think the encouraging thing is that Guam residents, CNMI residents, everyone on every platform is calling this out. It's clearly, there's no blurred line about what happened yesterday.
Right.
It's very clear. There are thousands, if not, there are hundreds of people who saw what we saw. There's no other interpretation of it, in my view, when you have viewers and the media saying the same thing.
I just think it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that you have the communications director not wanting to communicate and then passing it off over to Carlo Branch.
Yeah,
But has the audacity to tell reporters what to ask, and then when you ask a question and it's not to your liking, you mute people. So answer your phone, girl. Answer your phone.
Should anyone be fired over this, Tomas?
Do your job. Don't pass it off.
I know that's not my call to make, but if any, we talked about this before. We both know folks on the team. I think I've worked with them briefly as well. And the idea that they used to be former reporters is also a little troubling.
No, she's a former news director.
Yeah.
Not just a reporter.
That just makes the entire situation even more troubling. The fact that they were former members of the press. And
so, do you think that
happen after this? But that's just really.
Do you think that there's any reporter DNA left in Janella and Crystal? Because you're right. But I think the reason why the administration went so hard after them was because they thought that by bringing in people who used to be in the media, that they were just going to be buddies with the media, and it was going to be like we're all BFFs, and it didn't really work out that way, did it?
No, and I hope that they just do better and have more time for more than two questions.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Okay, hopefully, okay. Hey, Tomas, it's Jace, man. Good morning, and thanks for working. And I just wanted to jump in because I don't know if you guys are paying attention to the comment stream because obviously, Tomas, you're on the phone with us. Chris is back and forth, but this has been the most quotable episode of Containing COVID we have ever had today. I mean, Mike Israel was on maybe about an hour and a half earlier, and I mean, that dude is YouTube caption gold. from like all the gems he was giving us. And I just wanted to jump in and say, Bree, there's already a hashtag that people are using in the comments. Answer your phone, girl. You said that 45 seconds, whatever, a minute and a half ago, and everything. People are already using the hashtag. So I think this
Just
reinforces
keeping it real.
This reinforces the point, though. It's I mean, and that is the purpose of the media, is we are being the proxy for public sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in the administration eyes, they just think of the media as just a hassle. They're always on our back. They won't shut up about Tony Babauta.
They won't shut up about
the federal
stimulus
aid.
checks.
God, stupid media, we did this recovery plan for you guys, and you just want to ask your stupid questions about Tony Babauta.
Okay, speaking
the federal aid. God, no more poor people questions.
Speaking of stupid, this may be a completely ridiculous viewpoint, but you guys feel free to let me know. Okay.
Yeah, it is. If it's coming from you, probably.
Probably, yeah. Throughout this whole pandemic, right, we've seen and we've interacted with, of course, our friends in journalism. And before we had to go basically on lockdown, we're shoulder to shoulder with these guys in every press conference anyway, right? So we're friends and we're collegial with the Guam journalists. There have been a couple occasions, especially when the U.S. Theodore Roosevelt came out here, when we've had international media join in the Zoom call. I wonder if Adelup would have tried the same thing if we had Wall Street Journal and Washington Post on the line too. Because, Guam journalists, I mean, obviously we're reacting to it. We're going to do something about it as an industry. Those guys, they won't let that slide either. And that's big time, baby.
Yeah, well, 8:46.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Right. Thank you, Tomas Manglona. I think I accidentally hung up on him. But yeah, so we just wanted to get his perspective here. And we're taking a little break, and we're coming back with Mr. Bob Fenton, who is the FEMA Region 9 administrator. And, we definitely have some